Hey folks, when I was in 5th grade, we lived in Jamestown, North Dakota, and my dad came home from work, and I remember he shared with me words that maybe every kid dreads. He shared with me that he had received a new job and that we would be moving. No! To a 5th grade boy, that was probably the worst thing I could have ever heard come out of my dad's mouth. And shortly thereafter, a moving truck would pull up to our house, all of our belongings would be put on that truck, and we would move from North Dakota to Iowa. I didn't know anything about Iowa, but there's one thing I did know. My friends were not in Iowa. And we arrived in Iowa, and my dad, he got busy with his new job. My mom, she got busy engaging in the community and making sure my younger siblings got engaged in school and activities. And I remember distinctly that being an incredibly hard transition. I remember thinking once we arrived and life kept going, I remember just wondering, is life just too busy? My parents just too busy doing their own things for me to be a significant part of that life. I remember wondering, do I fit in here? I remember asking, do I belong here? You see, I bring that up because this week we are talking about the phases that kids and students go through as they grow up. And just as there are phases in their schooling, their education, in their life, there are also phases to the life of faith. And here's what I know about you, because it's true about me, I don't want to miss it. When it comes to my kids, I don't want to miss the opportunities we have. Number one, to make a difference in their life, but also to pass on the faith. So thanks for tuning in this week. Before I dive in, if you are watching on Facebook, would you do a couple of things? Would you check in on Facebook? We have a great donor who's donating $5 every time you check in, and those dollars go to our Backpack Attack program. If you could share and like this post, maybe if you're watching on YouTube, you'd hit subscribe. And if you're watching on cable access, share this with a friend. Tell a friend to tune in with you, especially if they have kids or grandkids. This week, we're talking about the phases that kids and families go through as kids grow up. And yesterday, we talked about those preschool years, those years where kids are looking for and we are providing for them safety, security. They're asking questions like, am I okay? Am I capable? Am I safe? And we as parents, we scoop them up. We wrap our arms around them. We make sure that their physical needs are taken care of. But eventually, they head off to elementary school. They get a little bit older. I remember when I was in elementary school, my Uncle Rob was my favorite relative. In fact, he was one of my favorite people on this planet. I wanted to be just like Rob when I grew up. He was a kindergarten teacher. And here's what he knew. He knew that when it comes to elementary kids, you got to engage them. You got to engage them. Unlike the other adults in my life, he loved to get down on the floor, get down on the ground and play games with us, wrestle with us. I remember when I was in elementary school, he brought to our house a science kit. And we did all these different experiments. I remember it was my Uncle Rob who, when he'd come over, he'd say, hey, let's go outside and let's play catch with the football. You see, he knew that whereas preschoolers need safety to grow up secure, what he knew elementary students needed was to be engaged at their level. And so today, what I want to talk to you about are 3 questions that I think elementary students need answered to grow up in such a way that they are confident, that they are filled with confidence about their future, and just maybe they might help us pass on the faith to them. The first question is this: do I have your attention? I think every elementary kid is wondering, do I have the attention of those adults in the room? That's why my kids say this often. Hey, Dad, 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 Dad. Maybe you've heard that before. Or Mom, 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 right? They want to know that they have our attention. Maybe that's why Jesus in the book of Matthew chapter 19, he said those age-old words, those words that went like this, let the children come to me. When all the Pharisees, the scribes were saying, what is this guy doing, spending time with these kids? Jesus said, come, bring them to me. Because he knew that kids needed to know that they were important. And the way we show them that they're important is we offer our undivided attention. The second question I think every elementary kid is asking is this: do I have what it takes? Do I have what it takes? Am I good enough? I mean, think about this week as kids go off to school. They are anxious. They're afraid. Who's going to sit next to me in the lunchroom? Who's going to play with me out on the playground? Who's going to talk to me? All those are questions that have to do with this bigger question: do I have what it takes? Am I good enough? Am I good enough? In Ephesians chapter 2, we hear those words that Paul wrote, you are God's handiwork. What if we were able to remind the students in our lives, those elementary students, that you are God's handiwork just as you are? You are more than enough just the way you are. Well, the first question is, do I have your attention? Every kid's asking it. The second one is, do I have what it takes? But the third question is this: do I have friends? Do I have friends? And maybe the deeper question behind that question is, where do I belong? Where do I belong? Maybe that's why in 1 John chapter 4 it says, you belong to God, my children. You belong to God. You see, one of the greatest things we can offer kids today is a reminder that they will always belong to our family. It's setting up traditions that say, in our house, this is who we are. We did something unique this year. We started a hashtag on Facebook and Instagram, and it's hashtag Dollhouse4, because we want to create a repository of photos and memories so that our kids forever remember that they belong. They belong to this family of four, this Dollhouse 4. And wouldn't it be great if we, as the church, when those kids walk through those elementary years, we could remind them that they will forever, however far they go, whatever happens in their life, wherever they go, that they will know that they always belong to a greater family. And that's the family of God. Folks, thanks for tuning in today. We've talked about preschoolers. We've talked about elementary students. And tomorrow, Maddie is going to talk all about those middle school years. We'll see you tomorrow.
Who am I that the highest king would welcome me? I was lost, but he brought me in. Oh, his love for me. Oh, his